needed protection. But most of all, she needed to put all that bad stuff, bad choices, bad people, behind her. She needed a fresh start. "Oh, is that right?" scoffed the snarky voice in her head, the voice that sounded a lot like her mother's. "And just who do you think you're kidding? There's no way to get a fresh start after what you've done, Gloria, and you know it. Admit that you're in way over your head and there's no way out. No easy way, that is. You'll end up in jail or worse." She forced herself to shut out the voice and turned, catching sight of herself in the full-length mirror on the back of her closet door. Medium tall, narrow hips, great boobs, if she did say so herself. She turned to admire her profile, lifting her shirt tail so she could see her flat stomach. Good nose, flirty eyes, nice mouth, reasonable hair, not bad looking, all things considered. But those boobs were extra special. Full and firm, like two ripe melons. And she knew how to show them to best advantage. Those boobs caught Guy's attention and held it. They'd caught Stu's attention, hadn't they? They'd made him want the rest of her. Want her badly enough to drop Shannon and focus all his attention on her. She made a face at her reflection. Yeah, well, those boobs were just about all she had. Without them, she'd never get noticed. She turned away from the mirror. She had no special talents, no special interests, no special skills, no special hopes or dreams. She drifted through undergraduate school with C's and a few B's, compiling a GPA that was barely high enough to get her into grad school, which she'd wanted not because she aspired to do anything special with a master's degree, but because another 2 years of school would allow her to postpone the rest of her life. And since her dad was so eager to pick up the tab, why not let him? It was a small price for him to pay, considering all the pain he'd caused. It made her feel like she was getting even, and that felt good. Getting even always felt good. She turned in a circle, surveying the messy apartment bedroom. Clothes strewn everywhere, magazines, makeup. What else should she take on her makeover weekend? Oh, God, yes, her laptop. She giggled, half hysterically. She wouldn't survive the weekend without her Facebook friends, who sometimes seemed like the only real friends she had, because they weren't in her face all the time. Her former roommate, Vicky, for instance, who got to be such a pain that she'd moved out. And Shannon, who was always mouthing off about Stu. And then she sobered, thinking, no, better not post this weekend, or if she posted, better not say where she was. Don't say she was in Seguin at her mother's place. Lie about it. Make up a story. Yeah, that was what she'd do. Make up this great story that everybody on her friends list would be bound to remember. Like, tell them she was driving down to South Padre Island for a long weekend at the beach with a couple of girlfriends from high school that she hadn't seen since graduation. That they had reservations at the beachfront Marriott, where the blue-green ocean broke onto a strip of white sand under the Gulf-side balconies, and the sun shone down on a jewel of a swimming pool, surrounded by swaths of green grass and swaying palm trees. That the three of them would slather on the sun oil and lie by the pool all day and spend all night bar hopping at the foot of the island, dancing to hot bands until the last margarita was poured. Sure, she could do that. Easy, because if she had one single talent in the world, it was making up stories about herself. She would imagine the whole thing from beginning to end. A great adventure, and tell it bit by bit in posts. So if anyone came looking for her and thought to check her Facebook page, they'd be convinced she was at South Padre. What was it they called this in those true crime shows on TV? A cover story? Whatever. It was a brilliant idea. And with that, she sat down at her laptop, brought the screen up, logged on to Facebook, and in 5 minutes had posted the first installment of her story. Time and date stamped, 6:10 p.m. on Friday today. According to her post, she was packed. The car was loaded. Her friends